Hello everybody, welcome to another Scratch tutorial. Today we're going to be making a little game called Jungle or Playground, but you can make it whatever you like. In this game we're going to be using some skills we're going to be learning some skills rather, such as using questions and responses and using those responses from the player to change our background accordingly. So without further ado, the first thing we're going to want to do is get our sprites. I think I'm going to use the bat as the one that asks the questions, and I'm going to use the bear as the one that responds. So first thing you notice is that the bear is facing the wrong way, not towards the bat. So we can change that really quick just by flipping horizontal on both of these. And then we're going to want some backgrounds. So first you're going to want to get the background that they're going to start in. I think I'm going to use the hill because I like the hill. And then you're going to want to choose some backdrops that you're going to go to. As I said in the name of the game, we're going to do jungle right here. And we're also going to get a playground backdrop right here. Okay, first thing we're going to want to do is, as in every project, we're going to get a win green flag clicked button. And to make sure that the game goes back to the same place every time you press the green flag, we are going to change the backdrop to our starting backdrop, which will be hill, every time you press the green flag, every time the game starts. Okay, there we go. So now, and make sure we're putting this code in the bat because the bat is going to be doing most of our code. Um, the first thing the bat is going to do is it's just going to ask what your name is. And you'll see that immediately whenever we press the flag, it's going to ask what my name is, and I can type whatever. And it's going to use that answer, but we don't have anything the answer is being used for, so it's not going to do anything. So what we're going to do is we'll make it respond to whatever the player says by saying, say whatever the answer is for however many seconds we need. So right now this says hello, and we don't want it to say hello. We want it to say hello and your name, so it will say hello Joe, or hello whatever your name is, hello John. Um, so to make two words or two sets of words go together, we will be using the join operator. That's the green one right here. So in sensing right here, you can see the answer, and that's just going to be whatever the player types whenever the bat asks what your name is. And instead of saying join Apple, we can say hello, and then whenever we press the green flag again, it's going to say what's your name. I can say Joe, and it's going to say hello Joe. And if we don't want it to have that space there because that doesn't look good, we can put a space after the hello, and it will work much better. Great. Okay, so that's the first part done. Now, a lot of what we do next is going to be using the same concepts of asking and using the responses, but instead this time we're going to ask, do you want to go to the jungle or the playground? And since now we have two different answers that you could have, we're going to have two different responses for the game to have. So we're going to use an if then with an else a block, and that's going to be in control. And these are going to be super important for any kind of game you're making. So we're going to use this sort of diamond shaped box, and we're going to put answer contains something. So right now, that's just some random word. We're going to change that to our answer. So it depends on what the player is saying. And instead of A, we're going to put jungle. So if the person that's playing the game says jungle, then we can respond in the way that we want to. And if the player says jungle, then we probably want to change the backdrop to jungle so that the bear goes to the jungle. So we're going to switch our backdrop to the jungle. And then if the player doesn't say jungle, we're just going to assume that they want to go to the playground. So we're going to put another one of these switch backdrop blocks, and we're going to say switch to playground. Okay, great. So now, whenever I say this, it's going to ask me what my name is. I'm going to say Joe. It's going to say hello, Joe, for 3 seconds. And then, if it asks jungle or playground, I'm going to press jungle, and it's going to take us to the jungle. But we want to do a little more, because this game's still a little bit boring. So what we're going to do is we are going to ask one more question, and that's going to be if we want to wear shoes. And I'll show you how to put the shoes on the bear in just a second. But first, we're going to do another one of the ask blocks. So again, we're going to change what's your name to whatever we want, which is going to be, do you want to wear shoes? And it's going to be a lot like what we had last time with the if else. So if contains, then else. We're going to use the same operator that contains, like I just said. And instead of jungle, instead of the answer containing jungle, we're going to put if answer contains yes. Okay. And instead of switching our backdrop, we are going to be using messages. And what messages do is that they'll send a command to every other sprite in the game. We only have two, so it's going to send a command to the bear. So if it contains yes, then we're going to broadcast message 1. So that means that message 1, if we go to the bear, is going to mean that the bear is going to be wearing shoes. So to make sprites that has the bear wearing shoes, we are going to duplicate the sprites that we already have. And since we're pressed for a little bit of time, I'm just going to make the shoes with purple circles with little black outlines. And we're going to do that for the other costume. So we're going to duplicate the bear B. So we have bear B2. And we're going to give him 4 little purple shoes, 1 on each paw. Okay. Now that we have that done, for simplicity, we have A and B as our no shoes and A2 and B2 as our sprites with shoes. So we're going to make the bear do a little bit of a dance whenever he receives a message. So forever, we're going to change our costume between our sprites with shoes, our costumes with shoes, once we receive the message. So our costumes with shoes are going to be A2 and B2. So we're going to do A2 and switch to B2. But if we do it like that, they're just going to switch really fast and it's not going to look good. So we're going to go to control. We're going to put a wait 1 seconds. We're going to change that to 0.5 because it's going to look a little nicer. And we're going to put 2 of them there so that it's between each switch. Okay. And now we're almost done. So it's going to get message 1 whenever the player says yes, and then it's just going to keep switching to costumes. Now we're just going to want to do that for no shoes, and for that we're going to go back to the back code. We're going to do another broadcast message block right here in events, but instead of message 1, we're going to use a new message aside from the default message that message 1 is, and we're going to put no shoes. No, that's not how you spell shoes. No shoes, exclamation point. Doesn't have to be an exclamation point. You can call it whatever you want, but good naming conventions means that we are going to say no shoes. Okay, so back in the bears code, we're going to put when I receive no shoes, we're going to just duplicate this block that we put for the with shoes because it's going to be almost the exact same code. Uh-oh, see, he's already dancing. But instead of with shoes, these costumes are going to be the ones without shoes. So that's going to be bear A and bear B without the shoes. And remember, you can use whatever sprites you like for this project. So now, whenever you press the button, it's going to ask what my name is. I'll say Joe. Okay. I'm going to say playground this time just to show you that that works. Great. And then I'll say, yes, I do want to wear shoes. And we start wearing shoes. So we only have one more thing left to fix, because maybe you noticed that whenever I pressed the green flag, we already had shoes on. And that's because we didn't reset the game. So every time we press the green flag, we want the bear to go back to the same position and not dance for the first time. So we're going to go to looks, And we're just going to go to switch costume to bear A. That's the very first costume. That's this one right here. So just the normal bear costume, no shoes, not standing up. So whenever we press the green flag, it's going to reset completely with the hill backdrop and with no shoes. Can't see the shoes because of the text box. So I'll move the bear up a little bit just so you can see no shoes. And with that, our game works completely and we are done. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.